Meanwhile, at Gotham Central Police Department, something unexpected is happening tonight. Not a crime, not a crisis, not even the faintest whisper of danger lurking in shadowy corners. Something far, far rarer in Gotham than any of those things could ever be. Absolute, complete, undeniable peace. 10 minutes before midnight on New Year's Eve, Detective Marcus Driver sits at his worn wooden desk, watching snow fall through tall windows that haven't been cleaned in months, as the entire city of Gotham holds its breath in this singular moment of stillness. And you're about to spend the quietest, most profoundly peaceful night of the year, right here, right now, with him. Close your eyes if you'd like, or keep them open, watching the darkness behind your eyelids, or the gentle glow of your screen. It honestly doesn't matter at all, whatever feels most comfortable. It's exactly 10 minutes before midnight now, December 31st, 2025, the very last precious moments of the year drifting by like leaves on a slow river, like clouds across a summer sky, like thoughts through a tired mind that's finally allowing itself to rest. These are the minutes between 1 year and the next, between what was and what will be, between holding on and letting go. And here, in the Major Crimes Bullpen at Gotham Central Police Department, a building that has stood for 93 years, that has witnessed every kind of human drama imaginable, that has seen the city through wars and riots and disasters, both natural and decidedly unnatural. Everything is profoundly, wonderfully, impossibly peaceful. The space is warm despite the winter raging outside, warm like a grandmother's kitchen, warm like a blanket fresh from the dryer, warm like safety feels when you're a child. The building has settled into itself like an old house that's finally found its foundation after decades of small shifts and adjustments. Safe as your childhood bedroom when you were young and believed that blankets could protect you from anything, that nightlights could hold back the dark that morning would always come, no matter how long the night seemed. Quiet as a library at closing time, when the last patron has left, and the books settle into their own silent conversations, sharing secrets between their covers that no human will ever hear. You are Detective Marcus Driver tonight. You're seeing through his eyes, tired eyes that have seen too much but still choose to look, feeling what he feels, the weight of the badge, the comfort of routine, the deep satisfaction of a quiet night, experiencing this night through his presence, solid, reliable, enduring. You are him, and he is you, at least for the next while. For as long as this story lasts, for as long as you need to be someone else, somewhere else. Marcus Driver, 43 years old, though he feels older most days and younger on rare occasions. Detective first grade for the last 6 years. Major Crimes Division for 10. Gotham City Police Department for 18 years total. Started as a patrol officer. In the Bowery, walking a beat, learning the rhythm of the streets, the ebb and flow of crime, like tides responding to some dark moon only criminals can see. Medium height, 5'10" in shoes, 5'9" and 3/4 in truth, but who's counting? Medium build, not the gym rat he was in his 20s, not the soft desk jockey he fears becoming. Brown hair going grey at the temples in a way that his daughter Emma says makes him look distinguished, and he says makes him look tired. Brown eyes that have learned to see too much, to notice the small things that don't fit, the tiny lies people tell with their bodies when their mouths are saying something else entirely. But tonight, this special, rare, precious night, you're not chasing anyone through dark alleys, slick with rain and danger and the smell of rotting garbage. Not solving urgent cases that can't wait until morning, that demand attention like crying infants. Not racing against any clock that measures success in minutes and seconds, that turns time into an enemy to be defeated. Not fighting against time or crime or chaos or any of the darkness that usually fills these halls like smoke, like shadows, like the ghosts of all the cases that went unsolved. You're just present, Sitting at your desk in the northeast corner of the bullpen, the spot you've claimed as your own for so many years, it feels like an extension of your body, your territory, your small kingdom of order in a world of chaos, where the old heating vent in the wall hums its steady, reliable rhythm like a mechanical heartbeat that never fails, never falters, never stops. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, that vent has been humming, providing warmth, providing white noise, providing the soundtrack to thousands of hours of detective work. The vent is painted the same industrial beige as the walls, but the paint is chipped and flaking, revealing layers beneath like sedimentary rock. You've stared at that vent during countless moments of thought, waiting for inspiration, waiting for connections to form in your mind, like constellation patterns suddenly becoming visible. Sometimes you swear the rhythm changes, speeds up when a case is about to break, slows down when you're on the wrong track. Probably imagination, probably projection, but maybe not. In a city where a man dresses like a bat and fights crime, where clowns commit elaborate murders, where the impossible happens twice before breakfast, who's to say a heating vent can't have opinions about detective work? Tonight, you do not have to solve anything. Tonight, you do not have to impress anyone. Tonight, your only job is to be here, with the gentle weight of the room around you, and the small ordinary proof that you have lived a full life in this place. So before we even look at the city, before we listen for the radio, let's stay with the desk a little longer, like it's a shoreline and you're standing at the edge of a calm sea. There is a particular kind of quiet that gathers on a desk that has seen 18 years, the kind that holds stories, in the grain of the wood and the dull shine of worn edges, the kind that remembers hands resting here, elbows leaning here, fingers tapping here, eyes staring at paperwork long enough for the letters to blur into abstract shapes. If you let your gaze soften, you can almost see the day shift and the night shift layered on top of each other like transparent film. The brighter hours, the louder hours, and then this hour, when the building exhales and the desk becomes a little island of lamplight. Start with the surface, the blotter, flattened where your wrist has pressed into it thousands of times, the faint scuffs where a stapler once lived, the thin trails where a folder was dragged an inch to the left, an inch to the right. You don't even remember doing it, but the desk remembers. Near the back, the edges of old memos have left a ghost of their shape, like shadows that never fully went away. Some papers were important, some were routine, some were the kind you signed without reading twice because you already knew what they said. But the desk does not judge. It holds the imprint of them all. There is a coffee ring too, faded into the finish. It's not a mess, it's a timestamp. A small circular souvenir from a night that probably felt endless. A night when the rain was loud against the windows, and the phone wouldn't stop, and you promised yourself you'd quit caffeine, and then you didn't. And nearby, there's a pen. Not the expensive kind, not the flashy kind. Just a pen that writes the way a good pen should write. The ink runs steady. The grip feels familiar. You could sign your name in the dark with it and still recognise the shape of your own handwriting. Now, if you want, imagine taking one slow breath and letting your shoulders drop a fraction. Good. Because there are drawers, and drawers are where the real archive lives. The top drawer opens with a sound that is almost polite. Not a squeal, not a clunk, just the soft friction of something used often enough to behave. Inside, everything is arranged the way your hands learn to arrange it, not the way a manual would recommend. Paper clips in a little dish, some bent, some perfect, rubber bands that have dried and cracked with age, kept anyway, because you always think you might need them. A small pile of sticky notes, the top one blank, as if waiting for the next thought. A tiny tape dispenser that has survived more years than it should have, like a stubborn old friend. There's a notepad with the corner folded down. You can't remember why you folded it, but there it is, a signal from your past self. Maybe it meant urgent. Maybe it meant follow up. Maybe it meant nothing. But tonight, it just means you are here. There might be a lighter in there too. Not for smoking, not anymore. Just a lighter that ended up in your drawer because someone left it on your desk one day and you never bothered to return it. Or maybe it's for a candle you lit once during a power outage when the station went dim and everyone pretended not to be nervous. And in the back, tucked under the practical items, there is always one strange thing that doesn't belong. Every long-held desk has one. A tiny toy someone gave you as a joke. A weird key you never identified. A coin from a foreign country. A single glove. A miniature plastic badge from a training day. Something small that proves life keeps happening in the middle of work. The second drawer is heavier. It's the drawer of weight. Folders, old case summaries, reports with corners softened from rereading, a stack of forms that you swear you will reorganize someday, and someday never arrives. A file clipped shut with a binder clip that looks like it could hold the door closed in a storm. This drawer smells like paper and time, like dust that isn't dirty, just old, like ink that has sat quietly and dried. If you've ever opened a box in an attic and felt the air change, you know the feeling. Here the desk holds the versions of you that lived through different winters. The younger version, still surprised by certain kinds of cruelty, still shocked by how calm the world can look while someone's life is falling apart. The middle version, tired but steady, learning to conserve energy, learning which fights are worth the breath. The older version, the current version, quieter on the outside and deeper on the inside, with a strange kind of gratitude for the nights that end peacefully. There may be a photograph tucked into a folder, not framed, not displayed, just placed there because you didn't know where else to put it. Maybe it's a group picture from a holiday party you barely remember attending. Maybe it's a candid shot someone took when you were laughing without expecting it. Maybe it's a photo of a street corner in Gotham that looked almost pretty under snow, a reminder that even this city sometimes can soften. If you find yourself imagining it, let the photo be whatever you need it to be. A calm memory, a safe memory, a memory that does not demand anything from you. The third drawer is the drawer you open less often. The drawer of personal survival. A small bottle of pain reliever, a packet of mints, a couple of cough drops fused together at the edges because they've been there too long. Spare batteries, an old phone charger that doesn't fit anything anymore, but you keep it anyway because it feels wrong to throw it out. And maybe, tucked in the corner, a folded scarf. You left it here one night after coming in soaked. You meant to take it home. You forgot. Now it lives here like a quiet backup plan. There might even be a spare pair of gloves. Gotham winters teach you to keep a second chance close by. If you pause here, if you let your eyes drift across these small objects, you may feel something in your chest that isn't sadness and isn't joy, but something softer, a kind of earned peace. Because this drawer says you've made it through nights. You've learned how to keep yourself functioning. You've learned how to be human while doing a job that sometimes tries to strip the humanity away. And tonight, with snow falling outside, the station is calm enough that you can notice these things. You can notice the ordinary. Notice the lamp again, how it pools light on the desktop like warm honey. Notice the way the shadows gather at the edges of the desk, respectful, staying back. Notice the sound of the building, a faint hum, a distant creak, the soft, faraway breath of ventilation. Notice your own breathing. Slow, easy, steady. If your mind wanders, let it wander. If it returns, let it return. No pressure, no urgency. This is a night for small gentleness. And when you're ready, when you've had enough of the desk's quiet company, you can lift your gaze again. You can remember, there's a city beyond the glass. But for one more moment, stay with the desk. Stay with the proof that you've been here, that you've lived a whole working life, and that tonight, for a little while, nothing is asking you to be anything other than present. Your desk deserves its own biography. Government issue 1973, according to the property tag, that's barely legible anymore. Metal construction, built to survive nuclear war or at least 40 years of detectives. Grey-green paint that was probably chosen by someone who hated both grey and green and decided to punish the world by combining them. The paint is chipped in 100 places, each chip a small rebellion against institutional aesthetics, revealing the primer beneath, and beneath that, bare metal that's somehow more honest than any paint could be. The desk has 6 drawers, 3 on each side, plus one long shallow drawer in the centre. Each drawer has its own personality, its own quirks, its own contents that tell the story of your career. Top left drawer, active case notes, yellow legal pads filled with your handwriting, which starts neat and degrades into scrawl as hours accumulate. Black ink always. The current pad is half full, the Moroni case spreading across 20 pages. Top right drawer, office supplies, 3 working pens, 2 dozen dead ones, paper clips, rubber bands that have lost their stretch, a stapler that jams every 5th staple, post-it notes in yellow. The tools of bureaucracy, slightly degraded but functional enough. Middle left drawer, cases that haunt you. The Patterson disappearance, 6-year-old, never found. The Chen murder, solved but something never felt right. The warehouse fire, arson definite, no proof. Cases that resist closure. Middle right drawer, personal items, old phone charger, menus from closed restaurants, business cards from forgotten people, expired aspirin, bulk antacids, a spare tie for court, deodorant, toothbrush, emergency supplies for when the job doesn't let you go home. Bottom left drawer, the past, your first commendation letter, the paper yellow with age, the words still making you proud, even though you can barely remember the case it was for. A photograph from your academy graduation, 32 young faces, eager and unmarked by what they'd see. You know where 7 of them are now. 2 dead, 3 retired, 2 still on the force, the rest scattered, lost, moved on to lives that don't involve seeing humanity's worst impulses on a daily basis. Your divorce papers, though why you keep them here instead of at home, is a question you don't examine too closely. Emma's kindergarten drawing of you as a stick figure with a huge badge and an even bigger smile. My daddy the hero, written in crayon across the top. You were never the hero she thought you were, but you tried. God, how you tried. Bottom right drawer, locked, always locked. The key is on your key ring, small and brass, worn smooth. Inside, your backup weapon, a Smith & Wesson Model 36, 5 shots. 38 Special, the gun your father carried as a cop in the 70s. You've never had to use it. Hope you never will. But it's there, a reminder of legacy, of tradition, of the weight that comes with carrying a badge that your father carried, that his father carried. 3 generations of drivers serving and protecting and slowly being worn down by the service and the protection. The surface of your desk is organised chaos, files stacked according to a system only you understand. Blue folders for closed cases, 23 of them currently, each a small victory, each representing someone who got justice or at least something resembling it. Green folders for archived cases that still might yield something, cold but not frozen, dormant but not dead. Yellow folders for active investigations that aren't urgent, the slow burn cases that require patience more than action, and red folders for hot cases, except there are no red folders tonight. For once, nothing is burning, nothing is screaming for immediate attention. The absence of red feels like a gift, like permission to breathe. Your chair is older than your career, an office chair from the 1980s, the kind they don't make anymore because they last too long, cut into profits. Brown fake leather that was probably meant to look professional, and now just looks tired. The leather is cracked like a dry riverbed, creating patterns that you've memorized during countless hours of sitting, thinking, waiting. Some of the cracks have widened enough that the foam padding shows through, yellow and compressed into something barely softer than wood. The height adjustment still works technically, though it requires a combination of pulling, twisting, and what can only be described as threatening it with violence. The optimal height was achieved 3 years ago, and you haven't dared adjust it since. The wheels squeak when you roll. A specific pattern of squeaks that Crane says sounds like Morse code. She jokes that you're sending secret messages to the floor below. Squeak, squeak, pause, squeak. Send coffee. Squeak, pause, squeak, squeak. Case is stuck. Long squeak. I'm too old for this. The armrests tell their own story. The fake leather is completely worn away, leaving smooth plastic that's been polished by countless hours of your forearms resting, rubbing, fidgeting. The left armrest is more worn than the right. You lean left when you think, a habit so ingrained you don't even notice it anymore. Sometimes you catch yourself leaning left, even when you're not in the chair, your body remembering the position, the angle, the way thoughts seem to flow better when you're tilted just slightly off-centre. When you first got this chair, inherited it from Detective Walsh, who inherited it from Detective Kowalski, who got it from someone whose name is lost to time, it felt wrong, foreign, like wearing someone else's clothes. It squeaked in the wrong places. The cushion had conformed to someone else's body. The height was wrong. The tilt was wrong. Everything was wrong. You almost requested a new chair, almost filled out the requisition form, almost joined the eternal waiting list for equipment that might arrive sometime before the heat death of the universe. But then days turned to weeks, turned to months, and slowly, imperceptibly, the chair became yours. Or maybe you became the chair's, a mutual adaptation, a symbiosis. Now when you sit down, it's like coming home. The chair knows you, accepts you, supports you without judgment. It doesn't care that you've gained 15 pounds since your divorce. Doesn't care that you sit too long without stretching. Doesn't care that sometimes you fall asleep in it during all-nighters, waking with your neck at an angle that chiropractors have nightmares about. The bullpen spreads out around you like a frozen sea of desks and paperwork. During normal business hours, it's chaos. Controlled chaos, theoretically, but chaos nonetheless. 12 desks arranged in 6 pairs, partners facing each other, across gaps just wide enough to roll chairs back without collision. The arrangement hasn't changed in 20 years. Probably hasn't changed in 40 years. There's something comforting about that permanence, that resistance to change, that insistence that some things should stay the same even as the world spins faster and faster towards some unknown future. But 4 desks sit empty now. Budget cuts claimed 2. Early retirement claimed 1. Death claimed 1. Thompson, massive heart attack, face down in a robbery report. 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. You were the one who found him. Thought he was sleeping at first. We all thought he was sleeping. The way he was slumped looked so natural, so familiar. How many times had we seen Thompson catching a few minutes of rest between interviews? But then you noticed he wasn't breathing. Noticed the stillness that was different from sleep. Noticed the way the afternoon, all light from the window, fell across his desk like a spotlight on an empty stage. They cleaned out his desk the next day. Efficient, professional, like he'd never been there, but his nameplate is still on the desk. Detective Richard Thompson. Nobody's had the heart to remove it. It's been 3 years. The desk is dusty now. Sometimes new transfers ask about it. That's Thompson's desk, someone will say, present tense, as if he's just stepped out, as if he'll be back any minute with his terrible gas station coffee, and his worst jokes and his uncanny ability to make witnesses trust him. The walls tell the story of the department better than any official history could. Layers of paint that don't quite cover what came before, nail holes from pictures and posters and notices long gone, water stains on the ceiling tiles from leaks that were fixed years ago but left their marks like tree rings, marking time in water damage. One tile is slightly different from the others, replaced after the incident with Morrison's birthday cake and an overzealous ceiling fan. Nobody talks about that incident, but everyone remembers. Officer Rodriguez at the front desk is the youngest person in the building tonight. 23 years old, 6 months out of the academy, still shiny with no-ness like a penny that hasn't been handled enough to develop patina. His uniform is pressed so sharp you could shave with the creases. His badge catches the light every time he moves, throwing small reflections across the ceiling like scattered stars. Everything about him screams rookie. The way he sits too straight, the way he answers the phone too formally, the way he still believes that procedure and protocol can solve everything. But there's something else there too, that hunger you recognise, that need to matter, to make a difference, to be the thin blue line everyone talks about. He's Puerto Rican from the Burnley district, first in his family to become a cop. His mother works double shifts at Gotham General. His father drives the number 47 bus, has been driving the same route for 15 years, knows every pothole, every stop, every regular passenger. Rodriguez could have done anything. Smart kid, full scholarship to Gotham University, graduated with honours. But he chose this, chose the badge, chose the difficulty, chose the possibility of making things better, even incrementally, even impossibly slowly. You see him reading his paperback novel, something called The Last Detective, with a moody cover that promises rain-slicked streets and moral ambiguity. He's taking notes in the margins. Actually taking notes on a detective novel while working as a cop. The earnestness of it makes your chest tight with something between affection and worry. You want to tell him to pace himself, to save some of that enthusiasm for year 5, year 10, year 18, but you don't. Let him have his enthusiasm. Let him believe a little longer. Sergeant Morrison in his office represents the other end of the spectrum. 32 years. On the force, started in 1993 when Gotham was objectively worse, but subjectively simpler. Before the city became a stage for costumed psychopaths. Before the Joker turned crime into performance art. Before fear gas and freeze guns and all the comic book insanity that somehow become normal. Morrison remembers when the worst thing you'd see was a mob hit or a drug deal gone bad. Brutal, yes. Tragic, absolutely. But comprehensible. Human-scale evil rather than theatrical catastrophe. Morrison's wife left him 15 years ago. Took the kids. Said she couldn't compete with the job. Couldn't watch him come home later and later. Quieter and quieter. Carrying the weight of the city on shoulders that were never meant to bear that much. He sees his kids, adults now, maybe twice a year. His daughter lives in Florida, teaches elementary school, has carefully built a life that has nothing to do with crime or punishment or the thin blue line. His son is a lawyer in metropolis corporate law, the kind where the worst thing that happens is someone loses money. They love their father but don't understand him. Don't understand why he stayed, why he still stays, why he can't let go. 6 months from retirement, Morrison has already started the paperwork, has the forms filled out but not submitted. There's a boat in Florida with his name on it. Literally, he showed you the pictures. Morrison's Law painted on the stern in letters the colour of his old patrol car. He talks about fishing like other people talk about heaven. Calm water, quiet mornings, problems that can be solved with patience and the right bait. No victims, no suspects, no reports. Just him and the fish and the sun on his face. But you both know he won't last 6 months in retirement. The job doesn't let go that easily. It's in his blood now, in his bones, in the way he sees the world. Every person is a potential victim or perpetrator. Every situation is a crime scene. Yarn waiting to happen. Every story has a dark twist lurking beneath the surface. How do you turn that off? How do you stop being a cop when being a cop has become indistinguishable from being yourself? Sarah Crane, the partner who grounds you. Your partner, Detective Sarah Crane, sits across from you at her own desk, a mirror image of yours, but somehow fundamentally different. Where your desk is controlled chaos, hers is controlled control. Everything aligned, everything purposeful, everything exactly where it should be. Crane is 35, detective second grade, 5 years younger than you chronologically, but sometimes seems older in her careful precision, her emotional restraint, her ability to compartmentalize the horrors of the job in ways you've never quite mastered. She came up fast through the ranks. Too fast, some of the old-timers grumbled, but they stopped grumbling when they saw her work. Saw her solve the Blackgate escapee case in 72 hours. Saw her testimony put away the Falcone money launderer. Saw her work 18-hour days for 3 weeks straight during the holiday killer investigation and never complain, never falter, never lose her focus. She's reviewing old case files tonight, not because they need reviewing, but because that's what Crane does with downtime. She revisits, she re-examines, she looks for patterns that might matter later, connections that might illuminate future cases. The Henderson embezzlement case spread across her desk in neat rows. 6 months of financial forensics condensed into manila folders and spreadsheets, following money through shell companies in the Caymans, through real estate in Star City, through art purchases that were really money laundering. Henderson's wife was the key in the end. Always is. Follow the money, find the crime. Follow the spouse, find the money. Crane's appearance is as controlled as her desk. Brown hair pulled back in the same ponytail. She's worn every day for 3 years. No, makeup. She says it's because she doesn't have time, but you suspect it's because makeup would be an admission of caring what others think. And Crane has carefully cultivated not caring. Dark suit, white shirt, practical shoes that she could run in if needed. No jewellery except a watch. Analog, silver, probably cost more than she should spend on a detective's salary. But she says accurate timekeeping is essential for court testimony. Her desk holds exactly 3 personal items. A photo of her parents, both retired teachers who don't understand why their brilliant daughter chose police work over law or medicine, but support her anyway. A small succulent in a geometric pot that her 8-year-old niece made in art class. The only living thing Crane has successfully kept alive, she jokes, because it thrives on neglect. A coffee mug that says, "World's okayest detective," that you gave her last Christmas as a joke, but she uses every day, a rare crack in her professional armour. 3 years. You've been partners. 3 years of learning each other's rhythms, tells and triggers. You know she drums her fingers when she's found something important. Know she goes quiet when she's angry, not because she's controlling her temper, but because she's planning her response. Know she always orders Thai food when she's stressed and Chinese when she's celebrating. Know she visits her parents every other Sunday, but hasn't told them about the close calls, the dangerous moments, the times when the job almost killed her. She knows you just as well. Knows you lean left when you're thinking. Knows you reread witness statements when you feel like you're missing something. Knows you check on Emma's social media when you're feeling disconnected from her life. Knows you still wear your wedding ring on a chain around your neck. Not because you want your ex-wife back, but because taking it off completely feels like erasing 17 years of your life. The quiet between you is comfortable. Built on 3 years of shared experiences, good and bad and boring and terrifying. You've seen each other at your best and worst. She's seen you cry exactly once after the Garrett child abuse case. You've seen her lose control exactly once when she threw a chair through the window after a rapist walked on a technicality. Neither of you ever mention those moments again. Don't need to. They're part of the foundation now, part of what makes you partners, rather than just co-workers. The building has its own voice at night, different from its daytime voice, quieter but not silent, more honest somehow, like it's finally able to speak without being drowned out by human noise. The heating system is the dominant voice, not just your vent but all of them, throughout the building, creating a chorus of mechanical breathing. Your vent hums. The one by the window whistles slightly when the wind outside is strong enough. Morrison's radiator clanks every 17 minutes. You've timed it, one of those things you do during long stakeouts in your own office. Crane's radiator hisses like a content cat. Together, they create a rhythm, almost musical, the building's lullaby. The coffee maker contributes its own percussion, gurgling and burping as it keeps the pot warm. The sound changes depending on how much coffee is left. Full pot, deep gurgle, half pot, higher pitched. Nearly empty, a desperate gasping sound that means someone needs to make a new pot soon, or face the wrath of whoever comes looking for caffeine next. Rodriguez will probably make the next pot. He always does. Still eager to contribute, even if it's just keeping everyone caffeinated. Outside, Gotham adds its voice, muffled by snow and walls, but still present. The occasional siren, ambulance, not police. You can tell the difference after all these years. The rumble of a bus, the hiss of tyres on wet pavement, someone honking, brief and pointless. Where are they going in such a hurry on New Year's Eve? Don't they know the city is resting? The building itself creaks and settles. 93 years old, it's earned the right to complain. The floors are hardwood, real hardwood, from when that wasn't a luxury, but just how floors were made. They creak in specific places. The spot by the water fountain, the threshold of Morrison's office, the board right in front of your desk that announces every visitor before they speak. You know who's approaching by their footsteps, by which boards sing under their weight. Rodriguez walks quickly, lightly, still on the balls of his feet like he might need to run at any moment. Morrison walks heavily, deliberately, each step a statement of presence. Crane's walk is measured, consistent, like she's pacing out evidence at a crime scene. The fluorescent lights are off, but the desk lamps hum their own tune. 60-cycle hum. The sound of electricity pretending to be light. Your lamp has a slight buzz, probably needs a new bulb, but the current one still works, so why? Change it. Waste not, want not. The department budget doesn't stretch to replacing things that still function, however poorly. Paper rustles as Crane turns pages, as Morrison makes notes, as Rodriguez reads his novel. Paper has its own sound at night, louder somehow, more present. During the day it's white noise, background static. At night each page turning is an event, a small percussion in the quiet symphony. Your stomach rumbles. When did you last eat? Lunch maybe? The sandwich from the deli on 4th Street? Turkey and Swiss. Too much mayo as always, but you never remember to ask for less. Or was that yesterday? The days blur together during long cases, time marked more by shifts than by meals. Before you focus on any one building, before you let your mind name the shapes and guess the streets, let your eyes relax the way they do when you stare at a fire. Because Gotham under snow is a different creature. In daylight, this city can feel sharp, hard edges, straight lines, metallic glare, the kind of place that looks like it was built out of arguments and deadlines. But snow changes the whole mood. Snow covers the city the way a blanket covers a restless child, not to silence it forever, just to help it settle. From up here, the streets look quieter than they ever truly are. The traffic lights glow like tiny soft jewels, red and green, patient and slow. The storefront signs blur slightly behind the curtain of snowfall. Neon becomes gentle. Even the harsh colours seem to lower their voices. The rooftops gather white along their ledges. Window frames collect thin frosted borders. The bridges stretch across dark water like long arms, their cables vanishing into the falling flakes as if the snow is rewriting the outlines of everything. You can see the river too if you look long enough. It moves with that heavy winter motion, thick and quiet, carrying reflections that tremble and break. Street lamps shiver on the surface. A passing car sends a ripple of light across the water like someone brushing a hand over silk. Somewhere down there, a bus sighs at a stop, releasing a small crowd of people bundled in coats. Their movements are tiny from this height. They are little dots of life, crossing intersections, waiting, hurrying, pausing. You don't know their names. You don't need to. It's enough to know the city is still alive. And listen. Even though you can't hear the details, you can imagine the soundscape the snow creates, the way snow dampens everything, the way it swallows the sharpness of tyres on pavement, the way it softens footsteps, the way it turns a loud city into a quieter city as if Gotham is briefly practicing being gentle. If you let your imagination drift, you can picture the sound of a broom scraping a sidewalk in front of a corner store, the swish of a shovel pushing snow into a neat pile, the distant bell above a shop door opening and closing, the muffled laughter of someone coming out of a diner, cheeks pink from warmth and conversation. And somewhere, of course, there are the sounds that never stop. A far-off siren softened by weather, a horn in the distance, less angry than usual, a train rumbling through an elevated line like a slow giant passing by. But from here, from this window, all of it becomes part of a single, steady hum. Gotham breathing. The buildings you've looked at for years seem slightly unfamiliar in this snowfall, as if the city is wearing a new coat. The tallest towers disappear into the low cloud ceiling, their upper floors swallowed by mist and snow, like they're trying to hide. The shorter buildings huddle together, their rooftops lined in white, like shoulders dusted with powder. There's a church steeple somewhere, dark against the grey sky. There's a water tower on a rooftop, rimmed with snow. There's a billboard with a face on it, half covered by flakes. The expression turns softer by accident. And there are windows, thousands of them. Some are dark, the rooms behind them asleep or empty. Some glow warm yellow, like little lanterns. Some flicker blue with television light. Each window is a small rectangle of life, and you could spend an entire night imagining the stories behind them. A family eating late dinner, forks tapping plates. A person sitting alone with a book, turning pages slowly. Someone pacing, talking on the phone, worried about something you will never know. Someone asleep on a couch, the TV still on, a blanket falling off their shoulder. And the snow keeps falling, patient and steady, as if it has all the time in the world. If you want, you can pick one building, just one, and let it become your anchor. Notice the way the light looks on its side. Notice how the snow streaks across it diagonally, like a slow curtain. Notice how the edges soften, how the corners blur, how the whole city looks a little less severe. And as you watch, allow your breathing to match the snowfall. In, out, no rush. If your thoughts start to wander to work, to cases, to responsibilities, you can gently guide them back to the view. The snow does not ask you to remember anything. The snow does not ask you to solve anything. It only falls. And you can only watch. There is something soothing about watching a city from a height. It reminds you that everything is always moving, always shifting, always changing, whether you're involved or not. The city does not pause because you're tired. The city does not collapse because you close your eyes for a moment. It continues. It carries itself. That is a comfort if you let it be, because it means you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to take a night, even while the world continues, and simply be a witness to the quiet. And if you stay with the view long enough, you might notice the strange beauty of it, a rare version of Gotham that feels almost like a promise. The windows that line the east wall of the bullpen are old, original to the building. Single-pane glass with chicken wire embedded for safety. They're drafty in winter, leak in heavy rain, and fog up when the temperature difference between inside and outside gets too extreme. But they offer a view of Gotham that's worth the discomfort. Tonight, the city looks different, transformed. The snow has been falling steadily for 4 hours now, and everything is covered. Buildings that usually loom dark and threatening look soft, almost friendly. The harsh angles of fire escapes are gentled by accumulated snow. The normally visible dirt and grime and decay are hidden under a clean white blanket. It's like Gotham is wearing a disguise, pretending to be a better version of itself. You can see Wayne Tower from here, lit up against the dark sky. The top floors are always lit, Bruce Wayne's penthouse, though you doubt he's there tonight. Probably at some charity gala, some society function, where the rich gather to congratulate themselves on their generosity, while the city below struggles to survive. Or maybe, probably, he's out there somewhere in the dark, wearing a different kind of suit, doing a different kind of charity work. You've never met Batman, never been formally introduced, but you've been at enough crime scenes to recognise his work. Precise, efficient, effective in ways the department could never be. The Ace Chemicals plant is visible in the distance, its smokestack dark tonight, shut down for the holiday, giving the East End a break from the usual chemical smell that even residents have stopped noticing. That plant has been the site of so many crimes. Over the years it should probably be condemned. But it employs 3,000 people, so it stays open, stays dangerous, stays a magnet for anyone looking to steal industrial chemicals for God knows what purpose. Closer, just across Robinson Park, you can see Gotham General Hospital. Lit up like a casino, every window glowing. No holidays for illness, no time off for injury. The emergency room will be busy tonight. Alcohol-related accidents, weather-related injuries, depression-related attempts. New Year's Eve is never truly quiet for the hospitals. The park itself is beautiful under snow. The trees, bare for winter, have collected snow on every branch, turning them into sculptures. The pond is frozen, covered in snow, looking like a perfect white canvas. During the day, kids will probably try to skate on it, despite the signs warning them off. Tonight, it's empty, except for the homeless who shelter in the park's hidden spaces. You make a mental note to have Rodriguez call social services in the morning. Make sure the warming shelters are open. It's too cold for anyone to be outside tonight. The clock on the wall reads 11:54 now. 6 minutes until midnight. 6 minutes until the arbitrary human marking that means everything and nothing simultaneously. The clock is original to the building, or at least original to your time here. Round face, black numbers on white background, black hands that move so slowly you can't see them move. No second hand, no ticking, just the imperceptible progression of time. Time feels different at night, slower, thicker, like it has more weight. During the day, hours fly past in a blur of interviews and paperwork and phone calls. At night, especially quiet nights like this, each minute has substance, has presence. You can feel them passing not just intellectually, but physically, like drops of water falling on your skin. 6 minutes, Crane observes, not looking up from her files. She always marks the approach to midnight on New Year's Eve, a small ritual, an acknowledgement that even she, with all her emotional control, recognizes the significance humans attach to this arbitrary moment. 6 minutes, you agree. Your voice sounds strange in the quiet. Rougher than usual. How long since you've spoken? An hour? 2? The quiet has been so complete, so comfortable, that words seemed unnecessary. Think the bat's out. Tonight? Crane asks. Another ritual. Every New Year's Eve she asks the same question. You consider it, though you already know your answer. Probably. Keeping watch, making sure the celebrations don't turn into disasters. Good night for crime, she says. Everyone drunk, everyone distracted, everyone thinking about new beginnings instead of watching their wallets. Good night for hope too, you counter. New year, fresh start. Maybe this is the year things get better. She looks up at that, meets your eyes. You really believe that? I have to, you say. Otherwise, what's the point? She nods, returns to her files, but there's something softer in her expression now. A crack in the armour. An admission that she too needs to believe things can get better, even if she'd never say it out loud. Rodriguez appears in the doorway, book closed, one finger marking his place. Almost midnight, he says, like you might not have noticed. The eagerness in his voice makes you feel ancient. Almost, Morrison agrees, emerging from his office. He's removed his reading glasses, rubbed the red marks they leave on the bridge of his nose. Another year in the books. Lieutenant Essen's door opens. You hadn't even known she was here. Her light was off, no sound from her office. But of course she's here. Essen is always here when her people are here. That's what makes her a good lieutenant. Not great maybe, but good. And in this department, in this city, good is often the best you can hope for. She's 51, compact and competent, with grey streaking through black hair. She refuses to die. Says she earned every grey hair. Why would she hide them? 15 years with GCPD, the last 3 as lieutenant. Tough but fair. Protective of her detectives, but not blind to their faults. The kind of commander who shows up at 2 a.m. if one of her people is in trouble, but also the kind who will bury you in paperwork if you screw up. Everybody gather round, she says, though it's not an order, more of an invitation. Might as well ring in the new year together. So you do, all 5 of you, moving toward the windows, not rushed, not eager, just moving together because that's what you do at moments like this. You're a unit, a team. Maybe not a family, that's too much weight to put on work relationships, but something that matters. Before midnight arrives, there is always a thin, quiet corridor of time where the whole world seems to hold its breath. You can feel it even in a building like this, even in a city like Gotham. The clocks are still ticking, of course. The fluorescent lights are still humming. The snow is still falling. But something about the last few minutes of the year makes everything feel slightly suspended, like the air itself has slowed down. Outside, the streets keep moving, but the movement becomes softer. People drift toward doorways and awnings. Cars crawl more carefully, tyres making that gentle hush against snowy pavement. Windows glow a little warmer, as if more lamps are being turned on, as if more rooms are becoming gathering places. And here, inside the station, even the silence feels different. It's not the silence of boredom, it's the silence of transition. The old year is finishing its sentence. The new year is waiting to speak. You don't have to be the kind of person who makes big resolutions to feel the significance of that. You don't have to believe in magic. You don't have to pretend the calendar is a miracle. But there is something about the simple fact of it. Another year, another page, another quiet chance to begin again. 18 years ago, you stepped into this building with a version of yourself you barely recognize now. You had different energy then, different nerves, different expectations. You looked at this city with a different kind of hope, or maybe a different kind of stubbornness. You thought you understood what the job would take. You didn't, no one does, and yet you stayed. Year after year, season after season, winter after winter, you learned the rhythm of the station. You learned the way the city changes at night. You learned how the radio sounds at 3 a.m. You learned how people speak when they're scared. You learned how silence can be louder than shouting. You learned how to keep going even when you didn't feel like it. And now, as midnight approaches, you can let yourself acknowledge something simple. You made it. Not in the dramatic fireworks sense, not in the movie trailer sense, just in the quiet human sense. You have made it through long nights. You have made it through difficult calls. You have made it through storms and tragedies and paperwork and loss and exhaustion and the kind of stress that tightens your jaw without you noticing. You made it through the year, and tonight is not asking you to do anything heroic. Tonight is only asking you to be here, to breathe, to feel the warmth of the station, to witness the snow, to let the changing of a number on a clock be what it is and nothing more. If you want, you can do a small mental inventory, not of goals, but of softness. What has kept you steady this year? Maybe it was routine, the simple comfort of knowing where your keys are, the way you make coffee, the way you fold your coat, the way you check the locks before leaving home. Maybe it was people, co-workers who offered quiet jokes, friends who called at the right time, a neighbour who waved, a cashier who learned your name. Small connections that didn't fix everything, but made the world feel less sharp. Maybe it was music, a song that carried you through a difficult stretch, the way certain chords can loosen something inside your chest, the way a melody can make you feel understood without anyone saying a word. Maybe it was silence, the precious moments when you could sit in a room and nothing demanded your attention, the rare nights when you could sleep without dreaming too hard. Maybe it was stubbornness, the kind of stubbornness that says, I am tired, but I will keep going anyway. Whatever it was, you can let yourself appreciate it. You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to explain it. Just notice it. the way you notice snow collecting on a windowsill. And as the minutes thin down, as the old year narrows toward its ending, you can also let yourself release something, gently. Not a dramatic release, not a big declaration, just a quiet letting go, a tension you carried in your shoulders, a conversation you replayed too many times, a mistake you punished yourself for, a regret that never taught you anything new. Let it loosen, like a knot slowly untying, because the new year does not need you to arrive perfect. It only needs you to arrive. And you're already here. You can imagine the city outside doing the same thing in 1,000 different ways. Somebody standing in a tiny kitchen, watching steam rise from a mug. Somebody in a crowded apartment, laughing too loud. Somebody alone, in a car, parked on a hill, watching lights shimmer. Somebody working a night shift like you, counting down quietly, with no party, no cheering, just steady presence. All of you, together, moving into the next year. And in that thought, there can be a strange comfort. Even in a city like Gotham, you are not alone. The clock keeps going. The snow keeps falling. The building keeps humming. And the year, slowly, gently, turns. You all stand at the windows now, looking out at the city. The snow is still falling, but lighter now. Individual flakes visible in the streetlight halos, each one unique, they say. Billions of individual crystals, no two alike, like people, like cases, like moments. From somewhere below, you can hear muffled celebration. Music from an apartment, laughter from a bar that's still open. The city isn't asleep. Gotham never truly sleeps, but it's resting, taking a breath, pausing before plunging into another year of whatever chaos and catastrophe awaits. 2 minutes until midnight. Rodriguez is practically vibrating with anticipation. His first New Year's Eve on the force. Something to tell his family about. I spent it working, he'll say with pride, keeping the city safe. Let him have that pride. Let him believe it's that simple. Morrison looks tired but present, thinking about his boat probably, about Florida sun and fish that don't commit crimes, about escape that's only 6 months away, but might as well be 6 years for how distant it feels. Crane stands with her usual composure, but you see her checking her phone. Her parents always text at midnight, always the same message. Happy New Year, sweetheart. We're proud of you. She'll respond with equal consistency. Happy New Year, love you both. The same exchange for 8 years since she joined the force. Rituals matter. Consistency matters. Knowing someone will reach out matters. Essen stands slightly apart, maintaining the distance of command even in this informal moment. But she's here, present, part of the group even if she can't quite allow herself to be fully part of it. The loneliness of leadership. The price of being the one who makes decisions that affect everyone else. 1 minute. The city seems to hold its breath. Even the falling snow seems to pause, suspended between sky and ground, waiting for permission to continue its descent. You think about Emma. She'll be at a party with friends in Central City. Young architects and designers celebrating their potential, their future, their dreams that haven't been crushed yet. She'll text at 12:01, like always. Happy New Year, Dad. Love you. You'll text back. Happy New Year, kiddo. Love you too. Be safe. The same exchange for 5 years since she left for college. A thread of connection across the miles. 30 seconds. Somewhere, fireworks are starting early. You can see the flashes reflected in windows across the street. Premature celebration, or maybe just impatience. Gotham has never been good at. Waiting. 20 seconds. Morrison coughs, clears his throat. Well, he says, then stops. What is there to say? Another year survived. Another year closer to retirement. Another year of cases solved and unsolved, justice served and denied. 10 seconds. The radio crackles. All units, be advised. Midnight approaching. Happy New Year to all officers on duty. The dispatcher's voice is warm. Female. Gonzalez, maybe, or Patterson. Someone working the same shift you are, choosing duty over celebration. 5 seconds. Crane raises her coffee mug slightly, still half full of cold coffee. A toast to endurance. 4. Rodriguez straightens his uniform, unconsciously. As if the new year is a superior officer requiring respect. 3. Morrison nods once slowly. Acknowledgement of time passing. Of survival. 2. Essen says quietly, "Thank you all for being here." 1. The city erupts. Distant fireworks, car horns, cheering from windows and rooftops. 2026 arrives not quietly, but with Gotham's typical excess midnight. "Happy New Year," Essen says, voice soft but clear. "Happy New Year," you all respond, not in unison but overlapping. 5 voices marking time's passage. Crane sips her cold coffee, grimaces slightly, but drinks it anyway. "Another year," she says, not a complaint, not a celebration, just an observation. "Another year," Morrison agrees. "One closer to that boat." Rodriguez grins, young and unguarded. "My first new year on the force. Feel like I should document it somehow." "You are," you tell him. "You'll remember this, trust me. The quiet ones stick with you more than the chaos." Your phone vibrates. Emma, exactly at 12:01. "Happy New Year, Dad. Party's incredible. Wish you were here, but I know you're where you need to be. Love you so much. Can't wait to see you next month." You type back, fingers careful on the small screen. "Happy New Year, kiddo. Glad you're having fun. Be safe. Love you more than words can say. See you soon." Crane's phone buzzes. Her parents, predictable as atomic clocks. She reads, types a quick response, puts the phone away, but there's a small smile on her face, the kind she'd deny if anyone mentioned it. Morrison's phone stays silent. His kids will text tomorrow maybe, or next week, or never. The distance between fathers and children measured in more than miles. Rodriguez is taking a picture with his phone. The bullpen, the snow outside, the 5 of you standing together. "For my mum," he says, almost apologetically. "She worries." "They all worry," Morrison says. "That's what families do." Slowly, naturally, the group disperses. There's no formal dismissal, no announcement that the moment is over. You just drift back to your desks, your posts, your duties. The new year is here, but the work continues. The work always continues. Rodriguez returns to the front desk, but not before making fresh coffee. The kid really is thoughtful. The smell of brewing coffee fills the bullpen, somehow different from the old coffee. Smell, fresher, more hopeful. New Year coffee. Morrison heads back to his office but pauses at your desk. "Good to have you here, driver," he says. Nothing more. Doesn't need to say more. 32 years of experience compressed into 6 words. Essen stops by Crane's desk. They talk quietly. Something about a case coming up for trial next month. Professional discussion. But there's warmth there. Respect. The kind built over years of working together, of trusting each other's judgment. You settle back into your chair. It welcomes you with its familiar creak. The Maroney file is still open on your desk. The new year hasn't magically solved it. The evidence is still circumstantial. The witnesses are still reluctant. The money trail still goes cold in the Caymans. But you'll keep working it, keep pushing, keep applying pressure until something gives. Because that's what you do. That's who you are. The phone rings. Your desk phone, not your cell. "Detective Driver, Major Crimes." "Driver, it's Ramirez from the 7th. You know Ramirez, good cop, thorough. Doesn't call unless it's important. What have you got?" "Break-in at a warehouse in the Diamond District. Looks professional. No alarms triggered, but they got caught on a neighbour's security camera. Thing is, the MO matches those burglaries you were working. The Bristol case?" You're already reaching for a pen. "Give me the address." He does. You write it down. Also the responding officers' names, the case number, the basics. You'll get the full report tomorrow. "Thanks for the heads up, Ramirez. Happy New Year." "Happy New Year, driver. Sorry to start it with work." "Work never stops," you say. "We just mark time around it." You hang up. Look at the notes. Another piece of the puzzle maybe, or maybe nothing. Won't know until you investigate, until you do the work, until you apply the patience and persistence that 18 years have taught you. Crane looks up. New case, maybe connected to Bristol. Break-in. Tonight. Want to head over? You consider it. The scene is being processed. The evidence is being collected. There's nothing you could do tonight that won't wait until tomorrow. No, let them work. We'll review everything in the morning. She nods. Goes back to her files. No argument, no second guessing. Trust built over 3 years of partnership. 1:30 a.m. now. The new year is 90 minutes old. The celebrations outside have died down. The fireworks are over. The city is settling into its first sleep of 2026. The bullpen is even quieter now, if that's possible. The initial energy of midnight has dissipated. Everyone's returned to their own orbits, their own thoughts, their own work. Rodriguez has finished another chapter of his novel. You can see him at the front desk, completely absorbed. Every few pages, he stops to make a note. What is he writing? Observations about detective work? Comparisons between fiction and reality? Notes for his own novel someday? Everyone thinks. They have a book in them. Maybe Rodriguez actually does. Morrison's light is still on, but dimmer. He's probably reading with just his desk lamp now. Old eyes need less light for familiar work. Or maybe he's not reading at all. Maybe he's just sitting, thinking about Florida, about fishing, about escape that's so close. He can taste the salt air. Crane is deep in her files. The Henderson case has expanded across her entire desk now. Financial records, phone records, witness statements. She's building a timeline, constructing a narrative from scattered facts. This is what she's best at. Finding patterns, making connections, building cases that prosecutors love because they tell clear stories. Juries need stories, judges need facts. Crane provides both. Your own work continues. The Maroney file growing with the new information from Ramirez. Another warehouse, same MO, but different district, different responding officers, different context. Is it connected? Probably, maybe. Won't know until you look closer, until you compare security footage, witness statements, entry methods, what was taken versus what was left behind. The heating vent continues its rhythm. The coffee maker gurgles, the building breathes. Time passes in increments, too small to perceive, but too large to ignore. This is the deep night, the hours between midnight and dawn, when the city shows its true face, when the masks come off, when the performance ends and reality remains. Sometimes memory doesn't arrive like a clear picture. Sometimes it arrives like weather, a pressure change, a soft shift in your chest, a feeling that something is near. And on nights like this, when the station is calm and the snow is steady, memories come more easily. Not the loud ones, not the ones that slam into you, the quieter ones, the ones that drift in like flakes landing gently, one at a time. You might remember your first winter here. Not the exact date, not the details, just the sensation of it. The way the station felt too big then, the way every sound seemed amplified, the way the badge on your chest felt heavier than it should have, the way you stood a little straighter because you were trying to look like you belonged. You did belong, even then, but it takes time to believe that. You might remember the first time you heard the radio crackle in the middle of the night and felt your stomach tighten before you even understood why. You didn't know yet how your body would learn the language of urgency. You didn't know yet how certain tones, certain pauses, certain words could make your pulse jump. Now, years later, your body understands it all without needing translation. You might remember small things. A night when a co-worker brought in a box of donuts, and everyone pretended not to be grateful. But everyone was. A night when someone fell asleep in a chair for 10 minutes and woke up apologizing like they'd committed a crime. And someone else just nodded and said, "Yeah, same." A night when the vending machine ate your money, and you stood there, tired and offended, pressing the button again anyway, like the machine could be reasoned with. A night when the power flickered during a storm, and the building went quiet for a breath, and everyone paused listening, and then the lights came back, and the world resumed. A night when you stepped outside on your break, and the air was so cold, it felt clean, like it could scrub your thoughts. You could see your breath. You could see the city lights through a thin haze, and for a moment, even Gotham looked peaceful. You might remember the nights that were not peaceful too. They may drift near the edges of your mind, but tonight, you do not have to invite them all the way in. You can let them pass like distant headlights, because this is a sleep story. This is a soft place, and you are safe here. So we stay with the gentle memories. The nights when the station felt like a shared living room, more than a workplace. The nights when someone told a story that made you laugh so hard you had to cover your mouth, like laughter was too loud for the hour. The nights when the city outside looked like a painting through rain-streaked glass. You might remember the little rituals you built without realizing it. The way you check the same bulletin board, even though you already know what's posted. The way you adjust your chair before sitting, just so. The way you turn the lamp on at the same angle. The way you line up a pen with the edge of the blotter. The way you take a sip of coffee at the same moment, almost on schedule. Rituals are how people make order out of chaos. Rituals are how the nervous system learns to calm down. And you, over 18 years, have built a whole quiet architecture of ritual. Even now, in this late hour, you might notice your hands doing something familiar. Straightening a file, touching the edge of your badge, rubbing your thumb across a knuckle. Small movements that say, I am here and I know how to be here. And you might notice something else too. Gratitude. Not the forced kind, not the greeting card kind, the quiet kind. Gratitude for a calm night. Gratitude for snow that softens the world. Gratitude for a building that feels warm. Gratitude for a job that, despite everything, gave your life structure. Gratitude for the fact that you have survived yourself, year after year. And you might also feel something like tenderness for the younger version of you who started here. That younger version didn't know what was coming, didn't know how tired they'd become, didn't know how strong they'd become. If you could speak to that version now, you wouldn't need to say much. You could just say, you'll make it, you'll learn, you'll get through more than you think you can, and you'll still be here on a snow night, watching the city breathe. And then, because this is a sleep story, because we are moving slowly toward rest, you can let those memories settle, back down, like papers placed carefully into a folder, like a drawer sliding shut, like snow covering footprints until the ground looks smooth again. You don't have to hold the memories tightly. You can let them be part of the background, a soft hum, a gentle proof. And as you return to the present, to the quiet station and the lamplight and the snowfall beyond the window, you can breathe again. In, out, slow, easy. You are here. And the night is still calm. You've worked hundreds of night shifts, maybe thousands. They blur together but also stand apart, each one its own small universe of experience. Your first night shift as a detective. You were so nervous you drank 7 cups of coffee and spent half the night in the bathroom. Your partner then, Detective Chen, now retired to Phoenix, laughed at you. Pace yourself, rookie, he said. The night is long and the coffee is terrible. He was right about both. The night you caught the Riverside Strangler, 3 a.m. following a hunch. That turned out to be right. Finding him in that abandoned building, surrounded by his trophies, the surge of adrenaline, the perfect arrest, the satisfaction of knowing you'd saved lives. Those are the nights that make the job worthwhile. The night Thompson died. 2:47 p.m. technically, but you were here until 3 a.m. dealing with the aftermath, calling his family, packing his personal effects, trying to make sense of how someone could be here one moment and gone the next. His coffee mug was still warm. His pen was still uncapped. He was mid-sentence in his report. Death doesn't wait for you to finish your paperwork. The night Emma called you crying because she'd failed her first college exam. You talked her through it from this desk, from this chair, surrounded by murder files and robbery reports, trying to remember how to be a father instead of a detective. Failure isn't final, you told her. It's just information. Learn from it and move forward. Advice you should probably take, yourself. The night your divorce became final. You worked a double shift, couldn't face going home to the apartment that still smelled like her perfume. Crane didn't say anything. just brought you coffee and stayed late too, working her own cases but present. Sometimes the best partnership is just showing up, just being there, just existing in the same space as someone else's pain. The weight of time, past and present, converge. 2 a.m. now, the deep night, the hour when the walls between past and present grow thin, when memories surface unbidden like bodies in still water. This is when the building reveals its ghosts, not literal ghosts, though in Gotham you can never be entirely sure, but the accumulated presence of everyone who's worked here, suffered here, triumphed here, failed here. You can feel them sometimes, especially on quiet nights like this. The weight of all those careers, all those cases, all those small victories and large defeats, the building absorbs it all like a sponge absorbs water. Every strong emotion, every desperate decision, every moment of clarity or confusion, it's all here, embedded in the walls, the floors, the very air you breathe. Your father worked in this building. Different department, robbery division, but the same building. The same halls, maybe even the same desk, though the records don't go back that far. He retired in 1995, just before things got really weird in Gotham. Never had to deal with fear gas or freeze rays or any of the comic book insanity that's become your normal. His criminals were simple, greedy, violent, human. You envy him that sometimes. The clarity of it, the guy who robs a bank because he wants money makes sense. The guy who robs a bank dressed as a playing card to make an elaborate statement about the randomness of fate, that's harder to process. Your father never talked much about the job at home. It was like he took off his badge and left it all at the door. But sometimes, late at night, after a few drinks, stories would leak out. The partner who saved his life during a shootout in Crime Alley. The kid he couldn't save from her overdose. The corruption he saw but couldn't prove. The slow grinding weight of seeing humanity's worst day after day after day. The job changes you, he told you once, the night before you entered the academy. Not all at once, so slowly you don't notice. One day you're an optimist who believes in justice. Then you're a realist who hopes for justice. Then you're a pessimist who'll settle for order. Then you're just tired and hoping to make it to retirement without becoming something you hate. You thought he was being dramatic. Now 18 years in, you understand. The job does change you, has changed you. You see it when you look in mirrors. Not just the grey hair and the lines around your eyes, but something deeper. A wariness, a distance, a professional separation from the world that never quite goes away, even when you're off duty, even when you're trying to be just Marcus instead of Detective Driver. There's something about the deep night hours that strips away pretense. 3 a.m. is the hour of truth, they say. The hour when the body is at its lowest ebb. When defences are down. When the masks we wear during daylight hours become too heavy to maintain. It's when suspects confess, not because of interrogation techniques or evidence presented, but because the weight of carrying lies becomes unbearable in the small hours. You've seen it dozens of times. The breakdown always comes between 2 and 4 a.m. The tears, the relief, the I just wanted it to stop that explains everything and nothing. It's when witnesses remember details they swore they'd forgotten. When the mind, exhausted from maintaining its barriers, lets slip truths it's been holding back. The colour of the shooter's shoes, the song playing on the radio, the smell that made them think of their grandmother's house. Small things that crack cases wide open. It's when cops tell the truth too. When the bravado drops, when the gallows humour fades, when you admit that you're scared sometimes, that you don't know if what you're doing matters, that you lie awake thinking about the ones you couldn't save, the cases you couldn't close, the justice you couldn't deliver. Morrison knows this. It's why he's still here at, you check the clock, 2:17 a.m. Not because he has urgent work, but because going home means being alone with these thoughts. Here, surrounded by the familiar, with others keeping watch, the thoughts are manageable. Shared burden is lighter burden, even when the sharing is just proximity, just the knowledge that others are carrying the same weight. Crane knows it too, though she'd never admit it. She lives alone in a one-bedroom apartment in Coventry. No pets, no plants except that single succulent. No one waiting for her. The job is her life, in a way that's both admirable and terrifying. What happens when the job ends? What's left when the badge comes off for the last time? These are questions for 3 a.m, questions that have no good answers, only more questions. Rodriguez doesn't know it yet, still too new, still armoured in youth and enthusiasm, but he'll learn. They all do. The ones who stay anyway. The ones who leave, maybe they're the smart ones. Maybe recognising that the job will eat you alive if you let it is the first step toward wisdom. The Maroney file spreads across your desk like a map of failure. Not complete failure. You've made progress, built a case, gathered evidence, but not enough. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Some cases are like that. They resist solution. They mock your efforts. They remind you that despite what detective novels promise, sometimes there is no neat resolution. Sometimes the bad guys win. Sometimes justice is a luxury the system can't afford. Anthony Maroney, 53 years old, born in Gotham, raised in crime. His father was Vincent Maroney, part of the old Falcone crime family. His grandfather was Giuseppe Maroney, who ran bootlegging operations during Prohibition. Crime is literally in his blood, his bones, his DNA. He doesn't commit crimes, he is crime, embodied and incarnated. The current case involves money laundering through real estate, buying properties with dirty money, renovating them with more dirty money, selling them for clean money. Simple in concept, complex in execution. Shell companies layered on shell companies. Paperwork that leads nowhere. Witnesses who develop sudden amnesia. A system designed to frustrate investigation, to exhaust resources, to outlast patience. You've been working it for 8 months. Crane's been helping for the last 3. Hundreds of hours invested, thousands of documents reviewed, and still, you don't have enough for an arrest warrant. The DA wants more, always wants more, wants the case gift-wrapped with a bow before they'll take it to trial. Because losing a case against Maroney would be career suicide, so they wait. You investigate. Maroney continues operating. It's enough to make you understand why Batman works outside the system, why sometimes justice needs to wear a mask and throw punches instead of filing paperwork. You'd never say that out loud. It's heresy for a cop to endorse vigilantism. But in the deep night hours, when you're looking at 8 months of work that might amount to nothing, you understand the appeal of direct action. Outside, the snow has picked up again. Heavier now. The kind that will shut the city down tomorrow if it continues. The kind that makes everything quiet, that muffles sound and softens edges and makes the world feel smaller, more manageable, more survivable. You stand and walk to the window. Your knees protest. When did standing become something that required effort? When did your body start keeping score of all the running, jumping, fighting, surviving? 43 isn't old, but it's not young either. It's the age where you start calculating how many years. Until retirement, where you wonder if your body will last that long. Where you begin to understand why Morrison looks so tired all the time. The city below is transforming. The snow is erasing Gotham's sins temporarily, covering the graffiti, the garbage, the stains on sidewalks that might be oil or might be blood, making everything clean and white and new. It won't last, nothing good in Gotham ever does, but for now, for these few hours, the city looks like it could be saved. Wayne Tower is barely visible through the snow, just a shadow against a lighter shadow. Somewhere in that tower, or beneath it, Batman is probably reviewing his own cases. Does he have filing systems? Databases? Does he struggle with the same frustrations, the same failures, the same grinding sense that evil is winning by simply enduring? Or does putting on the mask free him from those concerns, allow him to cut through bureaucracy with his fists? You've thought about it. Late at night, when cases stall and justice seems impossible, you've thought about what it would be like to operate outside the system, To not need warrants or probable cause or chains of evidence, to just know someone is guilty and act on that knowledge. It's a dangerous thought, a seductive thought, the kind of thought that leads good cops to become bad cops, to cross lines that can't be uncrossed. But you always come back to the badge, to the oath, to the belief, however tested, that the system, for all its flaws, is better than the alternative. That law, however imperfect, is better than chaos. That justice delayed is frustrating, but justice denied is tragedy. So you do the work. File the paperwork. Follow the rules. Build cases brick by brick. And hope it's enough. The clock shows 3 a.m. exactly. The devil's hour, some call it. The hour when the veil is thinnest, when the body is weakest, when death comes calling most often. Hospital workers know this. They'll tell you that if a patient is going to die, it'll likely be around 3 a.m. The body just gives up, surrenders to whatever comes next. But it's also the hour of birth. More babies are born around 3 a.m. than any other hour. Something about circadian rhythms, hormone cycles, the body's natural timing. Death and birth, endings and beginnings, all compressed into this single hour when most of the world is sleeping. Rodriguez has dozed off at the front desk. You can see him through the glass doors. Head tilted back, mouth slightly open. His book has fallen closed, losing his place. He'll jerk awake in a few minutes, embarrassed, looking around to see if anyone noticed. You'll pretend you didn't. Let him have his dignity. We all need our dignity, especially when we're young and trying to prove ourselves. Morrison's light is still on, but dimmer. He might be asleep too. Head down on his desk like Thompson that day. But no, there's movement. He's awake, just quiet. Just existing in the space between wake and sleep where thoughts move, like fish in dark water, visible, but not quite catchable. Crane stands suddenly, stretches. Now you hear her spine pop from across the room. She walks to the coffee maker, pours a cup, even though the coffee must be tar by now. Hours old, and concentrated into something barely liquid. She doesn't add anything to it, just drinks it black, like penance, like medicine, like a ritual that has nothing to do with taste or caffeine and everything to do with the act itself. Can't sleep, you ask, though it's a stupid question. Nobody's trying to sleep. This isn't about sleep. Never could at this hour, she says. Even as a kid, 3 a.m. always found me awake. Insomnia. Awareness, she corrects. Like my body knows this is when things happen, when important things happen, and it doesn't want to miss them. She's right. You feel it too. The weight of 3 a.m., the significance of it. This is when your daughter was born. 3:17 a.m. after 18 hours of labour that had your ex-wife cursing your extra name and your existence. This is when your father died. 3:42 a.m. hospital room in Gotham General. Cancer finally winning its long war. This is when you caught the Riverside Strangler. This is when Thompson died, give or take. This is when truth lives. Do you ever wonder if what we do matters? Crane asks suddenly. The question surprises you. Not because you haven't thought it, you think it every day, but because Crane never voices doubt, never shows cracks in her professional armour. Every day, you answer honestly. Every case we don't close, every criminal who walks on a technicality, every victim who doesn't get justice. But you keep doing it. So do you. She nods, sips her tar coffee. The alternative is worse. Is it? She looks at you sharply. You thinking of quitting? No, just wondering. What would happen if we all just stopped? If every cop, every detective just said enough and walked away? Chaos, she says immediately. Maybe, or maybe something else would emerge. Maybe people would figure it out. Maybe Batman and his kind would expand. Maybe is a luxury we can't afford. She cuts you off. We deal with what is, not what might be. She's right. But at 3 a.m, in the deep quiet, with the snow falling and the city sleeping and the weight of 18 years pressing down, maybe seems like the only word that matters. 4 a.m. arrives without fanfare. No clock chimes, no bells, just the minute hand moving past 12, marking another hour survived. 4 a.m. is different from 3. If 3 is the hour of death and truth, 4 is the hour of decision. Stay or go. Fight or surrender. Push through or give up. Rodriguez jerks awake at the front desk. Looks around quickly, checking if anyone saw him sleeping. You pretend to be absorbed in your files. Crane pretends to be reading. Morrison is genuinely oblivious, lost in his own thoughts. The kid relaxes, opens his book again, finds his place. The cycle continues. Your phone buzzes. Not a call, just a text. Emma, who should be sleeping but probably isn't, can't sleep, thinking of you. Stay safe. You text back. Same here, kiddo, all quiet. Get some rest. You too, Dad. I will, you lie. The exchange takes less than a minute but changes everything. Reminds you why you do this. Not for justice in the abstract, not for the city as a whole, but for specific people. For Emma, for the chance that your work makes her world slightly safer, slightly more predictable, slightly more survivable. That's what keeps you in the chair when your body screams to move. What keeps you reading files when your eyes burn. What keeps you believing when belief seems foolish. The specific people, the individual faces, the names behind the case numbers. The Bristol burglary file calls to you. 3 break-ins, same MO, escalating in boldness. First was a jewellery store, small, family-owned. Second was an electronics warehouse. Third was an art gallery. Now if Ramirez is right, a fourth. In the Diamond District, what connects them? Not the goods stolen, too varied. Not the locations, spread across the city. Not the timing, irregular intervals. But there's something. There's always something. A pattern hiding in the chaos. A connection waiting to be discovered. This is what you're good at, not the physical stuff. You're competent, but not exceptional. Not the interrogations. You're effective, but not brilliant. But this, finding patterns, seeing connections, understanding how seemingly random events relate. You spread the files out, creating a map of crime on your desk. Photos, reports, witness statements. Your eye catches something. Small. Probably nothing, but each location had recent construction. The jewellery store had installed a new security system 2 weeks before the break-in. The warehouse had renovated their loading dock. The gallery had added climate control for sensitive pieces. The new location, you check Ramirez's notes, yes, recent renovation of their inventory system. Construction means workers. Workers mean access. Access means opportunity. It's thin, but it's something. A thread to pull. Tomorrow you'll check construction permits, contractor licenses, work crews. Tonight, you just note the connection, add it to the file, let your subconscious work on it, while your conscious mind drifts. 5 a.m. The horizon is still dark, but there's a change in the quality of darkness. Not lighter yet, but the promise of light. The potential for dawn. The city starts its earliest stirrings. Delivery trucks, bakers, the infrastructure of morning beginning its work. Morrison emerges from his office, looking every one of his 62 years. He pauses at your desk. Still at it? Always. The Bristol case? Maybe a connection. Construction crews. He nods. Good catch. I had a case once 15 years ago. Guy was hitting houses that had just installed new alarm systems. Turned out he worked for the alarm company. Inside knowledge. People never expect the inside threat, you agree. People never expect a lot of things. He looks out the window at the snow. Beautiful night. Beautiful morning, you correct. It is morning now, technically. I suppose it is. He returns to his office but leaves the door open wider. An invitation, maybe? Or just an old man tired of being alone with his thoughts. Your body's beginning to protest more insistently now. 18 years ago, you could work 36 hours straight and bounce back with a shower and strong coffee. Now your eyes burn. Your back aches from sitting. Your knees complain when you stand. Your hands are stiff from writing, typing, holding the same position for too long. This is the physical cost of the job that nobody talks about. Not the dramatic injuries, the gunshots, the fights, the crashes, but the slow degradation, the accumulation of small damages, The price of sitting at a desk for thousands of hours, of carrying the weight of the badge and gun every day, of holding stress in your shoulders until they're permanently knotted. You stand, stretch, feel things pop that shouldn't pop. Walk to the window again. The snow has stopped finally. The city is buried under 6 inches of white. Tomorrow, today actually, will be chaos. Accidents, delays, closures. But right now, in this moment, it's perfect, pristine. Like the city has been given a clean slate, a fresh start, a new beginning. That's what New Year's promises, isn't it? The chance to start over, to be better, to finally become the person you meant to be instead of the person you ended up being. You don't make resolutions anymore, too many broken promises to yourself, but you understand the appeal. The hope that this time will be different. This year will be better. This version of yourself will stick. 6 a.m. In an hour, the day shift will start arriving. The building will fill with noise and energy and purpose. The quiet will shatter. The spell will break. But for now, for this last hour, the peace holds. Crane is packing up her files, methodical as always, everything in its proper place. She'll go home, shower, sleep for exactly 4 hours, then be back. The same routine every time she works nights. No variation. The predictability of it seems to comfort her, to provide structure in a job that's often chaos. You heading out, you ask. Soon. You. Maybe. Probably not. She nods. Doesn't try to convince you to leave. Knows better. The construction crew angle is good. Want me to run it down today? If you have time. I'll make time, she pauses. Driver. Thanks. For what? For being here. For this. She gestures at the quiet bullpen, the snow outside, the night they've shared. It would be harder alone. Before you can respond, she's walking away. The moment of vulnerability closed as quickly as it opened. But it happened. It was real. Another small truth that only emerges in the deep night hours. Rodriguez is fully awake now, preparing for shift change, writing notes for whoever replaces him, straightening the desk, making himself look like he hasn't been dozing. The book goes in his pocket. His shift report is precise, professional. All quiet, no significant incidents. Happy New Year! Morrison finally emerges from his office for good. Coat on. Ready to leave. He stops at your desk one more time. You should go home, driver. Soon. That's what Thompson always said. The reference to Thompson stops you both. The ghost in the room. The reminder that the job can kill you even when it doesn't kill you. I'm not Thompson, you say. No, but you're not immortal either. He puts a hand on your shoulder. Heavy, warm, paternal. Take care of yourself. The job will take everything you give it and ask for more. Don't give it everything. Then he's gone. Footsteps echoing in the hallway. The elevator ding. Silence. It's just you now. Alone in the bullpen as the sky begins its slow transformation from black to grey. Not dawn yet, but dawn's messenger. The promise that night, however long, however dark, always ends. You could leave. Should leave. Go home to your empty apartment. Sleep in your own bed instead of at this desk. Pretend you have a life outside these walls, outside these cases, outside this calling that's become more curse than blessing. But you don't. Not yet. Instead, you sit back in your chair. Let it creak and settle. Close your eyes. Not to sleep. You're past sleep now, in that strange state beyond exhaustion, where everything feels both hyper-real and dreamlike. But to rest. To exist in this moment between night and day. Between 1 year and the next. Between who you were and who you're becoming. The heating vent continues its rhythm. Has it been running all night, all year, all 18 years? The sound is hypnotic, meditative, like the building's heartbeat, like the city's pulse, like your own breathing, slow and steady and unconscious. You think about Emma, about the life she's building, about the pride you feel watching her become someone better than you ever were. You think about your father, about the weight he carried, about the warnings you didn't understand until it was too late. You think about Thompson, about Morrison approaching retirement, about Rodriguez just starting out, the cycle of it, the continuity, the way the job continues regardless of who does it. You think about justice, about the cases you've closed and the ones you haven't, about the victims you've helped and the ones you've failed, about the criminals you've caught and the ones who got away. The ledger is probably balanced, as many wins as losses, but it doesn't feel balanced. The losses weigh more, the failures cut deeper. The ones who got away haunt longer, but you'll be back tomorrow. Later today, actually. You'll sit at this desk, review these files, make those calls, pull those threads, push against the weight of crime and chaos and corruption, not because you believe you'll win. 18 years has taught you that winning is temporary at best, but because someone has to push, someone has to try, someone has to sit in this chair, at this desk, in this building, and do the work. Might as well be you. The first light of dawn touches the windows, pale, weak, but undeniable. The snow has stopped completely. Your phone buzzes. The day shift supervisor, letting you know they're in the building. Time to go. Time to hand over the watch. Time to pretend you have a life outside these walls. You stand. Your body protests every movement. Gather your things, jacket, keys, phone. Leave the files on your desk. They'll be there when you return. They're always there. One last look around the bullpen, empty now, quiet, but full of ghosts, memories, promises, failures, small victories, large defeats. 18 years of your life compressed into this space, and probably another 10 to go before retirement. Before you become Morrison, talking about escape while unable to let go, but that's future Marcus's problem. Present Marcus just needs to make it to his car, drive home through the snow, sleep for a few hours, then come back and do it all again. Because that's the job, and the job continues, always. You walk to the elevator, press the button, wait. The building feels different in these last moments, lighter, like it too is ready to rest, to hand over responsibility to the day shift, to exhale after holding its breath all night. The elevator arrives with its familiar ding. You step inside, the doors close. As you descend, you think about the night, about the quiet, about the snow, about the marking of time that means nothing and everything, about Crane's moment of vulnerability, Morrison's approaching retirement, Rodriguez's enthusiasm, your own endurance. It was a good night, a quiet night, the kind of night that reminds you why you became a cop in the first place. Not for the excitement or the authority or the gun, but for the service, the protection, the thin blue line that sometimes, on nights like this, actually feels like it's holding something back, keeping something safe, making some small difference in the ongoing war between order and chaos. The elevator reaches the ground floor. The doors open. The lobby is empty, except for the security guard, who nods as you pass. Outside, the snow-covered city waits. Your car is buried but visible. The streets are mostly empty. The drive home will be slow but peaceful. You step outside. The cold hits immediately, sharp and clean. Your breath forms clouds in the air. The snow crunches under your feet, each step taking you further from the building, from the job, from detective driver and toward just Marcus. But you'll be back. You always come back. Because someone has to sit at that desk. Someone has to review those files. Someone has to push against the darkness. And until you can't anymore, that someone is you. The sun breaks the horizon as you reach your car. Gold light on a white snow. A new day. A new year. The same job. The same commitment. The same quiet dedication that nobody sees, nobody acknowledges, but everybody depends on. You brush the snow off your windshield, start the engine, let it warm up while you sit in the driver's seat, watching the city wake up around you. Then you drive home, slowly, carefully, through empty streets made beautiful by snow, through a city that, for this moment at least, feels peaceful, feels safe, feels like it might actually be worth protecting. Tomorrow, today, you'll be back. The work will continue, the cases will progress or stall. Justice will be served or delayed. The job will take what it always takes and give what it always gives. But right now, in this moment, driving through the snow-covered streets of Gotham as the sun rises on the first day of 2026, you're at peace. The quiet night has done its work, has reminded you why you chose this, why you continue choosing it, why despite everything you'll keep choosing it until you can't anymore. The city passes by your windows, sleeping, peaceful, protected, and you drive home through the snow, carrying the night with you, carrying the quiet, carrying the knowledge that sometimes, on rare nights like this, the job gives more than it takes. Sometimes the quiet nights are enough. Sometimes they're everything. Badge 7847, Detective Marcus Driver, Major Crimes Division, 18 years of service, present, peaceful, home. The work continues tomorrow. The cases wait. The city endures. But right now, in this moment, there is only this, only breath, only presence, only peace. The snow falls gently, so gently now, each flake a whisper, each moment a gift, each breath a blessing. Everything softens, everything slows, everything settles into the deep, quiet peace of the first hours of the new year. And you rest in that peace, held, safe, home. The heating vent hums its lullaby. The building breathes its steady breath. The city sleeps its winter sleep. And everything is exactly as it should be. Not empty, full of presence, full of peace, full of the quiet satisfaction of work done, of duty maintained, of watch kept. The snow has nearly stopped. Just a few flakes now, drifting, wandering, in no hurry, taking all the time in the world, all the time that exists, all the time there is. Your eyes close, just for a moment, just to rest them, just to be in the darkness behind your eyelids, the warm darkness, the safe darkness, the darkness that holds you gently, that asks nothing, that gives everything. The heating vent continues, always continues, that steady rhythm, that reliable presence, that sound that says home, that says safe, that says rest now. Rest and know that everything is being taken care of. Everything is exactly as it should be. The building holds you, the chair supports you, the desk grounds you, your badge rests against your chest. Your weapon sits quietly, your files wait patiently. Everything waits, everything rests, everything simply is. Somewhere in the city, snow continues falling. Somewhere lights are glowing. Somewhere people are sleeping. Somewhere the city breathes its long, slow breath, in and out, the rhythm of life, the rhythm of peace, the rhythm of continuation. And here, in the bullpen, in this quiet space, in this moment that stretches like forever, you rest, you remain, you simply are. This is what you chose. This is what you became. Detective Marcus Driver, badge 7847, and you choose it again, without hesitation, without regret, because it matters. Not in the grand narrative sense, not in the making history sense, not in any way that will be remembered or recognised or celebrated, but in the small human, immediate sense of helping someone who needed help, solving a case that needed solving, bringing justice to a situation that needed justice, making someone feel safer, making someone feel heard, making someone feel like the system, for all its flaws, actually worked for them. Those moments matter. They add up. They accumulate into a career that, when you look back on it, feels meaningful, worthwhile, well spent. Your body has begun to settle even deeper into the chair now. The weight of 18 years, the weight of thousands of cases, the weight of all those small victories and small defeats, and mostly just small ordinary moments of doing the work. All of it held here, in this desk, in this space, in this building, in this city. Your breathing has slowed without you noticing. Steady, even. The breath of someone at peace, someone safe, someone exactly where they're supposed to be. The sounds around you feel softer now. more distant, like you're wrapped in something warm, something protective, something gentle, like the building itself is holding you, supporting you, telling you it's okay to rest, it's okay to let go, it's okay to simply be for a moment without doing, without achieving, without proving anything to anyone. The heating vent hums, the snow falls, the city breathes, and you breathe with it. Slow, deep, easy, in and out, in and out. Just this, just now, just breath, just being. Rest. Good night.